to the reshoot of the Commissioner's Corner podcast, week number 10/11. It is 7:42 a.m. I do not have a lot of time, but I'm using new streaming software, folks. That is correct. New streaming software where hopefully next week for the playoff selection special, we will actually be able to have guests come on and join us for at the end of the year here. So we're hoping this works out. We're live on YouTube using completely new software. I recorded one of these things last night, and unfortunately the audio was super choppy, which is devastating because it was almost 45 minutes long. So long story short here, I'm going to just kind of summarize this as fast as I can. Here's your new bottom 10. As you can see, Sag Nasty's notch above top notch, still the worst team in the league, still only one win. He's actually 1-9. This is actually old, so this should be the right one here, I think. There you go. 1-9. A bunch of other bums down here. Honolulu Blue Skies Golf with Laporta, double G spot, and freaking Stinky Fingers, two teams that only have 5 wins between the two of them, but 2 of them came against me, which sucks. I also do not have my soundboard or anything set up yet, but I want to get this up before I go to work today, and I have to take Renly to school, so it's going to be quick. So not a lot going on there. I mean, we're going to talk about the playoffs, the main reason this. Here's your top 20. As you can see, all too well, down to the bottom falls from number 11 to number 20. Top 10 starts with True Blue Wrecking Crew, and of course, the top 2 are the same as they were last week. Malcolm Rodriguez in the middle of my thighs and Louis Diana's fantasy football team both won. Malcolm Rodriguez on a 9-game winning streak. They started off 0-1. They're 8-0 in conference and have guaranteed themselves a bye in the first round, which is pretty wild. So I don't have my rundown here either, so I'm just hoping for the best. We're going to go by memory. Couple things to mention, okay, real quick. Number one is that Lakers and Freddie versus Jason, you're in trouble. Those 3 were randomized this week, as were the drag liners, which you can't really see. That's pretty small print. I'll fix it next time. The drag liners were removed from the league because they were randomized for the 3rd time. So I want to welcome to the league real quick someone who is unofficially known as Jerkaholics Anonymous. That was my bad. I was reading while trying to prepare for my kid's birthday party and watching football and doing randomizers. And this guy, Jim Jeske, has put in lineups 4 out of the last 5 weeks. I told him that there's people on the chopping block. Someone will get randomized a 3rd time, and they will lose the team. So he had a lineup ready to go. So in case you were wondering, A, why the quote-unquote randomizer was so good, and B, why his team went from Jerkaholics Anonymous. That was my bad. I didn't read his name. I thought it said Jerkaholics. Actually said Jeskaholics. He messaged me saying, hey, I think everyone's going to think I'm weird. I'm obsessed with spanking the monkey. Well, first of all, Jim, let me tell you, welcome to the league. Secondly, let me also tell you, that would not be the weirdest name in this league. Trust me, there's 100 teams, several of which are worse than Jerkaholics Anonymous. And whether you like to play with your PUD constantly or not, nobody cares. It's 2024. And at least you have a PUD, which would make some of the members in this league very happy because it hasn't been chopped off yet. They've fallen off the ranks. The provosts have. So we got to bring up something because we don't really talk about them anymore. They're not really relevant to the top 20 or the national title discussion. But still, we bring it up when we can, whenever penises are involved. Congratulations. You're not Jerkaholics, but you are Jeskaholics. And welcome to the league. It's a tough one, but he's already figured out the site faster than half the people have been in the league for a year. So congratulations to you. Now, we don't have time to do the minutes. We don't have time to do the fastest minutes, but I do want to look at a couple of things here, okay? We're going to look at just a couple of games. I'm not going to have the music, okay? Because I'll tell you what, nothing will sink your soul faster than spending almost an hour at 11 o'clock at night recording stuff only to find it not work. Oh, that sunk me bad, man. But real quick, do want to show you that Dollar Dollar Bills, y'all, defeated Do You Even Swiftbro and was dubbed by my fantasy leagues the game of the week. Saving Dollar Dollar Bills, y'all, season, keeping them alive, winning by less than a point. Congratulations to you. Malcolm Rodriguez in the middle of my thighs. Huge win, guaranteeing them the number 1 through 5 seed, which would actually be a bye, as you know. So over concussion protocol, he needed that win really bad. That was not to happen. Sag Nasty's not above top notch. Could not beat the newly named Jeskaholics, Jerkaholics, Drinkaholics, whatever the fuck your name is. Jeskaholics Anonymous keeps Sag Nasty in the one win department. 1 win, 9 losses. You are the weakest link. Show me them TDs. Beat hurt so good. Show me them TDs. Chad Lige, who I found out was how you pronounce his name from BVC, who I met yesterday. Hang on, Mr. Hernandez. Terrible. There's a couple of the games I want to point out here that are just so bad. By the way, farmersonly.com clinches their conference with that win. Patriot Thunder, 979 needed this win so bad. They put up 41 points, which is not even close to the worst performance of the week, by the way. And they lose to Patriot Thunder, really putting a damper on Frazier's conference title hopes, losing that game. We'll talk about that in a minute. Freddie versus Jason was randomized. That wasn't cool. Sewer Bombs needed this win bad, and Football's Life came up and beat him. So Sewer Bombs, not great for Craig Kissel. He needed that win. And now things are going to be much more interesting as you're going to look. Lewis Diana football teams locks up the conference with a win over Ketchum and Mostert, and the honeymoon is still over. I don't think he's won a game since he's been married, Alex Erickson, so that's weird. All too well needed this win really bad. Providence Power came through and beat the shit out of him. I can't believe she only scored 43. These are critical games, people. Critical games. Teams that need wins to secure or at least make it much more likely to get into the playoffs by winning their conference. These people put up 40s. Some people up in the 30s. Del G-Spot doesn't get randomized and puts up 28 points. Are you serious right now? Granted, Sam Darnold let down a lot of people, but Daniel Carlson, if you look right here, he doesn't even have a fucking score. It wasn't a 0. Daniel Carlson didn't even play. Trip on Foes keeps his playoff dreams alive with a huge score, 100 points. He's not going to make it in based on conference title or record, but he's got a lot of points. We'll talk about that in a second. Tallywhackers with a big win. Lakers puts up or gets randomized 30 points. Another one that needed a win so bad, and he puts up 42 points against Gimme 2 for the road. David Dalton winning, and I mean, a pretty meaningless game for him, but I mean, he gets an extra ticket in the lottery now, and more importantly, just crushes Vincent Villada. He needed that win so bad. We're going to talk about all this again. And just here, so I don't get fined, Paul, all I do is whine, wall and whine. He fucking puts up a win. I cannot believe it. And it was over someone who needed it bad. Chop it off. We're bringing you up again. It'll make you stunning and brave. Twilight Zone reality, folks, needed this win so bad to stay anywhere near competition. He loses to not chop it off. He loses to Paul Wallenwine. The only thing he chopped off was his bad attitude towards the end of the year because he can't win a game, but he does win there. Speaking of not winning games, better bring your A game. 3-7. What a disaster season for old Rob Jazerski. Paul Warden was the 4-6. Not really many people care. Cheats over nibble on my golf. Blah, 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 blah. Prime time couldn't be BVC. BVC, who I met yesterday just randomly. His parents were customers of mine. He came in with them. I was like, oh, hey, this is weird. Gets the win he needs, unlike most of these people, over prime time. Brian Benor could not get it. He needed that win so bad, too. Now that the conference is locked up for BVC. Greg Munger needed a win. He was actually in the hunt for stuff. Couldn't beat Fly, who only gets his 3rd win of the year, coming from behind. Does pick up his score Deals on Wheels merchandise, though, which is a plus. In the Battle of the Hitman, only one of them actually shot their shot, and that is Hernandez Hitman, who goes to 3-7. Rob Shaw was 5-4. Had a chance to sneak in somewhere, but now it's over. Barry McCock, huge win there. Puts himself in great position over Strong Street Soldiers, who did not put up much of a thing. I really wish my podcast was recorded last night because I had some gem, because they were kind of inappropriate. Balls Deep keeps his season somewhat alive. It looks like it's alive, but honestly, when we'll talk about it here in a minute, it's not, unfortunately. He will get in potentially on record based on that win. Love Story with a huge win here puts themselves in great position by beating low-hanging fruit. Needed that win. DeMar Hamlin's shot. This is the one I was talking about. This game was so critical for DeMar Hamlin's booster shot, a.k.a. Austin Pollard, and he put up fucking 37 points in a game that was everything. And it wasn't like he didn't start players. Sam Darnold was a bust. And the Vikings are just terrible. They had 400 yards offense at 12 points somehow. But I mean, damn, DeMar, you needed that win so bad. If you'd won that game, that conference would be just total chaos right now. And because you didn't win, there are 2 teams who control kind of their own destiny. But we'll talk in a minute. My balls, Zach Ertz needed this win. They fall to 5-5. Two Gurley's won Cup. Puts themselves in the driver's seat now because they won this game. Way to disappoint the league there, Don Knapp. Clockwork helps over Golf and Laporta, whatever. 7 minutes. CJ Gardner-Johnson needed this win, and they got it, only scoring 51 points. Narrowly defeated Craig Monahan's team, but still, a win's a win, and that's what he needs to keep his conference dream somewhat alive. He needs a lot of help. We'll talk about it. Digger Phelps loses first time since being in the top 10. Congratulations to you. The Apache Chiefs need nuts. Jamie Phelps, not a great year. Cale Seagraves needed that win hugely, although he's still not in control of his own destiny. Local Kiss woes continue. You're in trouble. Woes continue. Hunters, they have something to play for. Golf and Balls, huge win. Needed that. We'll talk about that. Squadrils looks like he keeps the season alive, but doesn't. He can't win the playoff. He can win the conference. So we'll talk about that in a minute. I feel weird doing this without the music, by the way. Password is Taco. Make sure Nesta Nutria doesn't get any hope for next year by beating them. And then this is a big one. Neighbor saw my Penix 100% needed this win. Namtab Knights 100% needed that win to lock it up. He couldn't do it. So Manny Flores keeps his season alive, keeps his conference title hopes alive with a win over the Batman, Namtab Knights, and Michael Myers. No one cares about that game. No one cares about that game. Taco Bell sound go. DeCrush and Hitting Rugs is a big game. DeCrush wins, knocking Hitting Rugs down to 7-3. That was huge for them because now Chris Kissel has a tiebreaker over him, and they're both 7-3. So congratulations to you. No one cares about that game. Swine Flu needed that win and got it. Puts himself in the driver's seat of that league. Babyback Gibbs needed this win, did not get it. Jason Taylor. Stephen Gurgley. He had a bad second half of the year here, folks. He was in the top 10 almost, consistently. Stephen Gurgley falls to 6-4, which is not great. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to pop up the standings, and we're going to go over these conferences one by one, okay? We're going to start with the ones that are already wrapped up, okay? That would be Malcolm Rodriguez in the middle of my thighs by winning. She is 8-0. I wish I could see this. Can I zoom in on this thing or what? Let's see. Oops, shoot. There we go. That's a little better. She's 8-0 in conference, 9-1 altogether, which is amazing. She can actually throw in the towel and still get no worse than the 5 seed guaranteed. FarmersOnly.com by winning this week and Play with Mike Ditka losing. So it secures the Kirk Lazarus conference. Now, I just want to remind everybody that this year it's not just the conference winners get buys. Only the top 5 conference winners get buys. So there is no rest. Unless you're Malcolm Rodriguez in the middle of my thighs, you have to compete to try to get that bye this week. So this is the Ultimate Survivor League. That's why we call it this, because it's not the, some people, everybody gets a trophy league. No, it's not that league. This is the Ultimate Survivor League, which means that there are very few things handed to you. The conference title.com. The conference title has been won by Malcolm Rodriguez. The conference title has been won by Louis Diana football team, okay? These are things. Louis Diana can almost put in a bad lineup and guarantee it, but not quite, because this division win-loss could be a problem for him if he loses, because that one loss means a big deal. Tallywhackers, they have not won this conference yet. BVC has won theirs, because even if they were to lose a lot to win, they'd both be 8-3, and they'd both be 6-3, but BVC has the tiebreaker over a lot because they won in like week 9 or something like that. This one's not done. This one's not done. This one's not done. This one. None of these other ones are done, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to pop over here. We're going to share this tab instead. I like this software so far. Here we go. As I mentioned, let's make this a little bigger too. Oh, wow, it's really big. The Jeff Lebowski Conference. This has been won by Malcolm Rodriguez, Kirk Lazarus by FarmersOnly.com. Jeff Spicoli Conference. Here we go. The Tallywhackers. If they win the conference. Or if they lose and Tuawell loses, then they will also win the conference because they would have the tiebreaker on them. If you look here, we're looking here. Where are we at here? Yes. So only 2 teams can win in this conference right now, and that would be all Tallywhackers. Tallywhackers win, and they get it. If they lose and all too well loses, still win the conference. However, if the Tallywhackers lose and all too well wins, because they have a tiebreaker, all too well would win that conference. Pretty simple, thankfully. We get down, and not all these are. Brody Bruce Conference. Barry Cockner. If they win and they win, they're in. Straight up. Okay. Love Story and Balls Deep both play this weekend, okay, which is important to know because where are we at here? Yeah, so 7-3, 7-3, 6-4. Barry McCockner wins to be 8-3, 7-2. Nothing can happen. If they lose, however, these two teams play each other. So we don't know really what's going to happen there, but we do actually, because I've done the math. I spent my day doing this yesterday. If Jordan's story, Love Story wins, whatever the fuck their name is, and Barry McCockner loses, then Jordan's story, Love's version, whatever the hell, Love Story, Jordan's version, they would win the conference. Only if Barry McCockner loses and Love Story wins. However, if Balls Deep beats Love Story, Jordan's version this week, believe it or not, that actually helps Barry McCockner because all three teams, Barry McCockner and Balls Deep would be tied at 7-4, 6-3. Jordan Love Story would be 5-4, and thus Barry beat Balls Deep in week 9. So even if Balls Deep wins and Barry McCockner loses, Barry McCockner wins because they beat Balls Deep and they have the tiebreaker over them. So big deal, but Balls Deep should try to win because they can get in on based on record anyway. So then we go down here. We're going to go to the Napoleon Dynamite Conference real quick. No, that's not what I want. Okay, that's where I'm at here. So, yeah, sorry, I wouldn't even look at the right screen there. That's the one thing I got to get used to this. Golf and Balls and the Apache Chiefs. We're going to go back here. Golf and Balls win and they're in, or a loss and an Apache Chiefs loss and they win. However, if Golf and Balls loses and Apache Chiefs wins, then Apache Chiefs would win the conference, right? So I believe Donkey Punchers lost to both teams. So even though it might look like they have a chance, they don't. Because they don't have the tiebreaker over anyone. So basically, Golf and Balls or Apache Chiefs, the only two that can win that. Apache Chiefs need to win and Golf and Balls lose in order for them to win the conference. Tommy Callahan Conference. We have Namtab Knights, Namer Semi-Penix, and Squad Rules all in mix here. Namtab Knights wins and they win the conference, period. Or if they lose and Neighbor Saw My Penix loses, they win. If Neighbor Saw My Penix wins and Namtab loses, then Neighbor Saw My Penix will win. Squadros has lost to both teams, so even though it might look like they have a shot here, they don't because they have the tiebreaker loss on both teams. So either Namtab or Neighbor Saw My Penix will win that conference. Lloyd Christmas Conference is going to be between Swine Flu, DeCrush, and Hitting Rugs. Swine Flu wins and they're in. If Swine Flu loses and both DeCrush and Hitting Rugs lose, they still win the conference. However, if Swine Flu loses and DeCrush wins and Hitting Rugs loses, DeCrush wins the conference. If Swine Flu loses and DeCrushers and Hitting Rugs wins, then Hitting Rugs win the conference. And if Swine Flu loses, DeCrush and Hitting Rugs both wins, then DeCrush wins the conference. So DeCrush has the best shot, or Swine Flu has the best shot, DeCrush second best shot, but Hitting Rugs has a shot. They're playing Garrity's Gigolos. Swine Flu's playing Baby Back Gibbs. DeCrush playing Canton Hall of Famers, who's had a rough year. Garrity's Gigolos has two. Baby Back Gibbs has been all right. But everyone's playing for points. Everyone's playing for tickets into the lottery. Every win you get is a ticket. Let's not forget that. And then I believe we go straight to, Rod Kimball I think is the only one we haven't done yet. Yep. Then there's a reason. Because this shit is nuts. There's actually 2 pages of this, okay? Here's the deal. This is a 5-horse race, essentially, and all 5 teams can essentially win this conference, okay? We're going to this one right here. 2 Gorillas Gold Cup, True Blue Record, Jamal Hamlin's Blue Shot, Donald W. and CJ Gardner-Johnson, all within striking distance. If you look right here, they all have 5-3 or 6-2 and 7-3 and 6-4. Whatever. So here are the scenarios. 2 Gorillas 1 Cup wins and they're in. Okay. True Blue, if they win and Todd Gurley if True Blue Wrecking Crew wins and 2 Gorillas 1 Cup loses, then True Blue Wrecking Crew wins the conference. Okay. But now, if they both lose, though, here's the deal. If they both lose, that's when things get wild. Let's move over here. This is almost too much to handle right now. Let me just share this tab so you can see what I'm doing. So if Two Girlies, One Cup, and True Blue Record both lose, then dollar bills. Well, keep in mind, I want to let you know that Two Girlies, One Cup plays DeMar Hamlin's booster shot this week. So that's why they're not in this mix, because for Two Girlies, One Cup to lose, they would have to have lost to DeMar Hamlin, and therefore that's why DeMar Hamlin's not boosted in here. Okay, but if Two Girlies, One Cup, True Blue Record loses, and dollar bills, y'all, and CG Johnson both lose, DeMar will have won that game. Two Girlies, One Cup, and True Blue Record will all be 7-4, 6-3. Because True Blue Record Crew beat DeMar Hamlin, but lost Two Girlies, One Cup, and Two Girlies, One Cup beat fucking A, this is confusing. Nevertheless, if it happens, Two Girlies, One Cup, it will just go to points, basically. Okay? They'll go to points. So points are important. Okay? It will go to points between all three teams if that happens. So they'll all be 1-1. If they both lose, Dollar Bill wins and CJ loses, then Dollar introduced the tiebreaker, meaning all teams are 7-4, 6-3. Two Girlies, One Cup, and DeMar Hamlin would then go to points because they have the same record amongst the two of them. Whoever has the most points between Two Girlies, One Cup, and DeMar Hamlin would win that conference, which is a big deal. Well, I'm running out of time. I have to get my son ready and get ready for work, so I got to go. CJ Johnson, Gardner Johnson, if they win and Dollar Bill loses, in addition to Girlies, One Cup, and True Blue Record loses, it would go to tiebreaker between True Blue Record and DeMar Hamlin's booster shot. Whoever has the most points. And then there's still another scenario, which is that if all these teams end up, if CJ Gardner Johnson and Dollar Bills both win, and True Blue Record Crew loses, and Two Girlies, One Cup loses, then all five teams, this is a weird scenario, but all five teams would be 7-4 and 6-3. And between those five teams, DeMar Hamlin's booster shot would win by default because they have the best record amongst those teams, okay, which is wild. 3-1, everyone else 2-2, 2-2, 1-3, 2-2. Okay? That's how that works. So a lot going on in that conference. May the best team win. Put it that way. Put it that way. Put it that way. Put it that way. We're putting it that way. Okay. So, if the season were to end today, I'm going to zoom this out a little bit now. If the season were to end today, here's where you'd be looking. This is not even correct. Shit. Let's try this one. If the season were to end today, this is what your playoffs would look like. Where the hell is it? Here's what it would look like. The top five conferences right now would be the five conference winners of the best positions. These guys would get buys right here. Malcolm Rodriguez, Louis Diana, Farmers Only, Tyler Weckers, Barry McCagner. Then BBC, Two Girlies, One Cup, Golf and Balls, Damn Tonight's and Swine Flu would get the next 5 seeds. The next 13 seeds would be the Apache Chief, True Blue Record, to Crush, 97 Night, Junk Punches, Wills Rings, Concussion Protocol, Hit and Rugs, a lot of All Too Well, Love Story, Sewer Bombs, and Neighbor Saw My Penix. Those 13 teams right now would make the playoffs. And then the 2 extra teams would be Providence Power and Trippin' on Fofos because they have the most points left. Now, Providence Power has the most points, period. Trippin' on Fofos have the third most points, period. So they have really good shots. But we're not talking, oh no. Don't freeze up on me, computer. Okay. We're not talking astronomical amounts of points here, okay? We're not. We're talking 10 points, 15 points over the next people. Chop it off. Kakambas are not very far behind. 810 to 797. You look up here, there's 801, 807, but Louis Diana's got it wrapped up, so his points are irrelevant. So I'm going to say it again. You need wins and you need points. This is desperation week. There's going to be some super lineups coming at you. Be ready for it. Okay? And if you're not doing it, you better do it. And some people have to play the cards. They have to say, hey, I actually have a shot here. I don't want to waste people because I'm going to make the playoffs, so there's no sense. But, I mean, are you going to make the playoffs? Because there's an ass load of 7-3 teams right here. Are you going to make the playoffs? That's the question. Nobody really knows. You don't know you're going to make the playoffs. Some of these people know they're going to make the playoffs, but they don't know they're going to get a bye. Only one team in the entire 100 teams knows they're getting a bye, and that is the number 1 seed, Malcolm Rodriguez, in the middle of my thighs because they're 9-1 and 8-0. So the worst they could do is be 9-2 and 8-1. And no other there's only 4 other teams that would have that capability. I think. I'm looking here and I might be wrong. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that is correct. Only I might be wrong. She might not have a guarantee. Oh yeah, she'd be 8-1. Yeah. Well, they'd be 8-1. Yeah, that's the thing. That's true. So there, yeah, that is guaranteed. She will get a bye. She'll get the 5 seed. So that's that. Super Squares. Dave Dalton won based on the fact that it was the Baltimore Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles had the highest scores. So that's cool. And yeah. Let's see if I can. I'm not even going to pull that up. So hey, you know what? Hopefully next week I'm going to try to switch my Tuesday for Wednesday, so I can do a Tuesday afternoon podcast. Bring on some people. We have the capability. I'm trying the software out. I hope this works. There's a lot of stuff I can do to customize this thing, which hopefully I can get figured out. Where am I at? Where'd I go? There I am. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, hey, look at that. Oh, very fancy. Yes. So, hey, I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I will be back next week. Hopefully this audio doesn't suck. And if it does, well, shit. But this is the second time doing this. And I do appreciate you watching this. And thanks for tuning in. And we'll